It does appear we may have inadvertently
That's proof you can't roll a 2CV.
My name is Oliver, and this is my dad, Andrew. He's a wicked engineer and my next door neighbour. We've always wanted to build a car together. So when I found my dream car in nightmare condition, we decided to embrace it, seize the day and re-engineer the entire car from scratch.
Well, it's looking more and more like a car every single day.
And make your own gear knob kit. There you go.
A K20 A2 from a Honda.
Things don't always go to plan. But when they do, it's a thing of beauty. Building a car and making memories with my dad. One of one, this is Project Mosquito. What? There's a big gap now. So why are we putting a shock absorber on?
Because I just want to check the wheel and tyre. Against the bodywork. Could there be a door as well? Please.
If we put the front end, have you taken your nuts and bolts out, yeah?
Yeah.
If we put the front end back on now.
Oh, yeah.
And we put a clamp, a spring clamp, between the front end and here, it will bring the bulkhead up to the level of the spring clamp and then we can have a look. Something's a muck, and so what I think we need to do is make a new front panel because it's all off, and rather than chasing our tails and going over it and over it and trying to make it right, I think we're just better saying we'll take these tacks off.
Yeah, we'll start afresh.
Start afresh, and we'll remake whatever we've got to remake to make it right.
Yep.
When we made the centre console, we also did this and did this, yeah? So it makes sense that they all fit together. Yeah?
But I think we should chop that off and make a different piece.
Make a pan that fits.
Pan that fits in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit too complicated. There's too much going on. Or if we can just put a piece in.
Yeah, like an oven dish.
Yeah.
Definitely. Gives us a bit of wiggle room as well to get things in, because that was tight, and doing that with windscreen would not be fun.
Yeah, so it's not as bad as we thought. It is just literally...
Well, no, it's worse than we thought, because it's not just side panels, it's the front bulkhead, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, you need to basically come up 45mm. All the way along.
It's like the first or second panel we made for the car.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but at the end of the day, we've chopped it and welded it once. And if you have to chop and weld something more than once, then remake. Remake, remodel.
We've got more than enough foot height, haven't we? Door room. Because we're going to redo it, we can put even more foot room in it.
Right, I've always looked up to the LFA, you know, the Lexus LFA, because they made I don't know if you know this, they made the entire car in aluminium originally. Then they weighed it, went, no, this won't do, it's too heavy, we can do better than this, and started again. That must have been a rough day at work, that. But you've got a bunch of engineers sat round that have been working on a car for so long, and they go, no, we can do better than this. And I think only the Japanese would do that. This thing that we've made is unacceptable, and we shall now ball it up, throw it in a bin,
Do it again.
And do it again. You can't always get it right the first time. And that's very difficult to take. It's something I find very difficult to take. but people, it's all through like engineering history. You know, I can think of 2 cars off the top of my head. The NSX, they designed the chassis with the Cray supercomputer to make it like as thin as possible and as lightweight as possible. And then Senna drove it, though the legend is that Senna drove it, brought it back and said it feels too flimsy. It doesn't feel enough. And so they started again. And the Lexus LFA, they made the LFA in aluminium first, and then once they'd finished the entire car, decided it wasn't light enough and started again in carbon fibre. Use an old EP3 filament, because obviously you don't want skin oils on the steel.
Or even sweaty feet.
My feet aren't sweaty, how dares I? Do we have a block of wood that's 90mm? Or however tall the pedal box will be? Is there a hole?
Yeah.
GTMs originally use mini windscreen wipers, and a mini windscreen wiper runs on a cable. It's a cable operated motor that lives over here somewhere, and a skinny little like Bendix type cable, like a bit like a Speedo cable, that runs through a windscreen wiper motor, which is not up to the task. Somebody on Reddit actually said to me, I posted some comments, posted some pictures on Reddit, and somebody said on Reddit, "Oh, we don't care about this modification because it's not a performance part." And I said to him, at 120 mile an hour, in the rain, you tell me a windscreen wiper isn't a performance part.
Yeah, in fact, in the original GT40s at Le Mans, when they were going down the straight, it was actually lifting the wipers off the windscreen.
The Mark 1 no, it wasn't fast enough. Not that. Actually, the thing with the windscreen wiper lifting, that happened to Gordon Murray's T50 at Goodwood.
Yeah.
And they completely redesigned the windscreen wiper mechanism so that I think they even changed the company that makes it, so that the windscreen wiper arm itself is a leaf spring that presses on the windscreen more. But no, in the GT40 Mark 1, the windscreen wipers weren't fast enough because no one had ever gone that fast down the Mulsanne Straight. And so at 200 miles an hour, and it always rains at Le Mans. If you've never been to France, we get really nice weather, but Le Mans is quite north. And it gets really bad fog in the morning, which we get fog, don't we, as well?
Yeah, we get occasionally.
But when it rains, right? And it very often rains at Le Mans. And no one had ever gone that fast down the Mulsanne Straight in the rain. And they literally couldn't see. So for the Mark IIs, they bettered the windscreen wiper and made it so you could actually see at speed. Because, you know, world's an easier place to be when you can see.
Especially at 200 plus mile an hour.
Yeah. Can I have an egg? Sorry, my mum's just been in and she's been pickling eggs, and these are eggs that didn't quite make pickling standard. If you want to know how to pickle eggs, there's a link in the description to our second channel. And my lovely fiance Mary once made an egg pickling video because 99% of all the egg pickling videos on YouTube are incorrect. But yeah, if you look at a Stratos windscreen, which that's a very curved windscreen on a small mid-engine car, if you watch a Stratos rally video in the rain, like you cannot see anything out of them cars. Terrible. I bang on the Stratos a lot. Sorry, use it on YouTube. I bang on the Stratos a lot. And so people might think that I don't like the Stratos. I love the Stratos. It's a fantastic car, which is why it's pretty much like the benchmark. If I can aim for Stratos and make every single part of this car better than a Stratos, it'll be one of the greatest cars ever made, period. Because the Stratos is one of the greatest cars ever made. And it shares a lot with this. It's short, it's mid-engine. Actually, this is a shorter wheelbase than the Stratos. It has a little bit less power, 280 brake horsepower, and I think in a in a World Rally Stratos, but it's also a lot lighter. But yeah, if I can make it like less murdery and better in incrementally better in every way, then I'll have made a good car. Sorry, we will have made a good car. Dad can't talk, he's eating eggs.
I just finished mine, thank you.
So you happy?
Everybody's put this front end back on.
I can't, you've clipped me in.
You live there now.
I'm very comfy, so I'm alright with that. There might be some absolutely disgusting noises being recorded by this microphone. Man eating eggs with a bunged up nose. Oh God, I'll choke.
It's actually nice to get everything all together.
It is, but we need to stop staring at it and make some stuff, Dad.
Yeah, I know. Well, but it is nice to see it all together.
It is.
For the first time in ages.
It is. Can you let me out?
We are flooring and so it's plenty clear. We can go down another 10, 15 mil at least.
Oh, it's all the room.
Yeah.
Oh, get it? Yeah, we can slam that.
Yeah.
We can get that right down. I didn't know there was that much room under it.
Yeah.
Now we can drop that into Hades and have a covered wiper nearly.
Yeah.
Just to get rid of the Bermuda triangle from the bonnet and just have it literally as a tiny little covered thing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
No, I mean, but it is like incorporating everything in it's a huge deal.
Yeah. Right, we plant the bum.
Mind the neddy lump.
We don't kick the door.
Oh, what's that?
Hey? What? Is your screw reel along? That just proves though that you can get in a normal parking space with the door in a certain...
Yeah. Because you know what it is, you're stuck in my bike.
What?
My braces.
Or is it?
Yep.
Oh, you didn't in my seats?
Don't need to film this, Miriam.
Nice, wasn't it?
Yeah. It don't feel little.
No, it feels really spacious.
And like I say, the Japanese thing of Kaizen, which isn't actually Japanese, it's American. You know, you take something apart, every time you take something apart, when you put it back, it has to be better than it was originally.
Yeah.
Be it in time it takes to manufacture it or just a better quality thing.
Yeah. Shut up. Hey. Bit.
Because this is like this, there,
Yeah.
then it goes up there. So you're going to have
a pocket.
You're always going to have a bigger gap there than you are there. So if you get that perfect, you're still going to have still be able to fit your little finger in.
Yeah. I don't want to tell you this. I don't want to say anything because I feel like I'm giving too much away here too quickly because I'd rather do it than talk about it. But one of there's a few pet peeves that I really don't like about a GTM, right? A few choices that were made that, in my opinion, don't need to be made on our car because they don't do anything. And if they don't do anything, they go in a bin, right? Same with the rest of the car. One is the forehead here. This flat forehead, it's partly because it came out of a mold. That can go. Like, I really don't like it. And it doesn't look so bad on a white car, but on like a black car or a dark coloured car, you really see it on photos. But in person, it's one of the first things that I notice, and it's your point of pressure for your aerodynamics. And we're going for a bonded in windscreen. So why would my point of pressure stick up? It's just making the air delaminate before it needs to. Another one is the drip rails along here, just like a 911, like they're going. And another one is, if the camera comes to the front of the car, everything ever has a few rules, right? Every designed car ever. And usually you bring from your side of your headlight and it tapers out towards the body line. There's a line on like 98% of beautiful cars ever made that tapers out, and it's for a reason. It's like is it 935 Group 5 Porsches, the Le Mans ones? They had like a big box here for the massive front wheels, but they maintained a cut into the body to allow air to escape from here out this way. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're funneling air directly up into your windscreen, and it's a lot better if it can come out and be pulled this way into the floor down the side of the car. So one of the things that we'll be doing is getting rid of this part of the clamshell, because obviously our wheels don't live in here. Our wheels are now here. So there's no that's headlight bob. So yeah, that will be going. So what I want to look at is, will this bit of the chassis, which only exists to prop this bit of the windscreen up, will that get in the way? A GTM does have a body line. In fact, I've scribed it down this side here. Because people keep asking me, are we doing wheel arches? And the answer is yes, but we're not just going to bolt arches on, because anybody can bolt arches on, and that's... We're actually going to widen the car from the body line, which is the hardest way to do it. People have been like, cut the car from the middle and widen the whole... No. It's just the hardest way of doing it, but it's the best way of doing it. And it will look gorgeous, and it will look like it's never been modified. It will look right. It will look like it's always been that way, and it will make every other GTM look wrong. And that's the point. Because why mess with it if you're not going to make it better? Sorry, every other GTM owner. You're all lovely people, and I love GTMs. But if I'm going to mess with it, if I don't improve it everywhere that I touch it, then I've failed, haven't I? And then I let everybody down. So we're all right, yeah, in the corners?
Yeah.
We've got enough room. Because we come into the same profile as the bonnet, aren't we? At the end of the day. GTMs are weird, because the widest point, this is a unique thing that I can do with this car, we can do with this car. Because GTMs are thick in the middle, like a trout. They're bulbous in the centre. They are fast and, is it fast and bulbous? The Captain Beefheart. Have you ever listened to that album? Trout Mask Replica. Fast and bulbous. Yeah, they're thick in the middle. The widest parts of the car is the doors, and then the car tapers at the front and then tapers at the rear. And so what we can do is make it the same thickness all the way through, and it'll do it. That's why the wheels always look like they're stuck out massively at the back, but actually if you draw a line back from the door itself, it's not that bad. Chopping it off.
Yep. And that way we get rid of all this. Straight up there.
Should have made this into a competition and had people vote for their favourites in the comments. I have no doubt that you'd win. Because of course there's a handle in the middle of my piece of cardboard. And then this, obviously not this one, like the original one did, but just longer and lighter. So the design we've settled on is evolution rather than revolution. I'm not going to take credit for it because it is an evolution of a design that Dad and I came up with together, and so it's not wholly my own. But this design has a couple of benefits over the other design. The other design would have been slightly lighter, not that much lighter, I'll go into that later. But having this piece at the same plane as this piece, airflow from the radiator will be better, which is great. And in having this piece flat, it allows us to mount our bonnet catch to it. You see, if the camera just pans over here, you don't have to zoom in, but this is a hole that's designed for the bonnet catch from a Triumph Spitfire. Now, the Mark 1 Triumph Spitfire is a really good looking car. That's because it was designed by Michelotti. The Spitfire's bonnet catch has an M symbol on it for Michelotti. If you've ever looked at a Spitfire and wondered what that symbol is, it's not like Morris or something, it's Michelotti. And he was so proud of his design that he signed his own car, and then for me to take his signature and put it on my car is a bit weird. I don't want people thinking that this is a Michelotti designed car, because it's not. And so it's like putting someone else's name on my homework, isn't it? So we're not going to do that, and a way to make it better, so take a, you know, if you're gonna change something, it should come with an improvement as well. Otherwise, it's change for the sake of change. So what we're going to do is we're going to mount our bonnet catches for the front clamshell on the inside. So to unhook the front clamshell, you lean forward in your seat, unhook that side, or walk round, then unhook this side, and then lift the front end forward. This removes the bonnet catches from the airflow, and so makes the car more aerodynamic, and it also makes the car safer to leave overnight, because nobody can like get in under your front clamshell and mess around and whatever. And this is a car for using, not just a car for looking at. So that's a good thing. So yeah, improved airflow and interior bonnet catches, because if we mount the catch to the tube, we can make the whole thing out of 0.5 mil thick steel, like this, rather than millimeter thick like it used to be made out of. And obviously, 0.5 mil thick steel is half the weight of 1 mil thick steel. And Dad's revolutionary design, which was to put a piece in here that holds the windscreen up was at a lot of an angle, so it would have had to have been made out of mil-thick steel. So the weight difference between the two designs is negligible. And so we're going to go for this design because, like I say, it just comes with more improvements and the weight saving isn't that significant.
So one of the advantages of doing it this way as well is the fact that we can literally seal this area off. There's a...
Yeah, we can come down this edge.
Where the clamshell fits to, we can make an edge. We can put a seal in there that runs down, and basically that will isolate the wheel well from the fuel tank and all the electricals and everything. So it'll keep all the dust and the dirt and the wet away from the fuel tank and the electrical and plumbing pipes and everything else.
Even the brakes, like if the brakes get warm and then cool down, they're not going to be sucking in damp air.
No. And so basically all the airflow then can pass from the radiator through this way and out. And obviously the front clamshell will sit along this edge. So when it's folded down, it makes a really nice seal between the fuel tank and the inner wheel arch. Yeah. So we can extract all the air out straight through it. Mm-hmm.
And we're not low enough to be able to get base suction from the front end of the car, but we are at a position where we can duct the hot, nice, spongy radiator air down the side of the car and prevent it from hitting prevent fresh, denser air from hitting the wheel arches, which is our plan. Because slab sides are great, they are better. Slab-sided car is technically most efficient car, but let's face it, deep dish wheels are awesome, and so are curves.
Yeah.
And so I will cheat as much as possible in order to maintain.
So we'll keep the aesthetic and negate the downside.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
Yeah, I will cheat the air as much as possible in order to maintain sexiness. My favourite part of this build is all the problem solving, I must admit.
Yeah, because it's not, what we're doing now is not a normal car build. You know, like I've said before, everything's a decision. Everything affects everything else, and you don't kind of realise till you start doing it. Because it's easy. Like I came up with a lighter way of doing the thing, this section that we're doing now. But the plain fact is, then we would have had to make an edge seal for the clamshell.
Well, it has knock-on effects, doesn't it?
Everything affects everything else.
I get people joke at me in the comments. I know you do, and I know it's all in good spirits. But people joke on in the comments about me going on about like the tiny little detail.
Yeah, well, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and it's the tiny little detail that make things beautiful as well. It's the tiny little details that make things interesting. It's why nobody has like a stick figure fetish. Like people, you know what I mean? Like you look at your partner, and it's the details of why you love them. It's the intricacies of people that make them interesting. It's the tiny little decisions that all add together in a car that make it a work of art and something special.
Yeah, that's like Pagani.
Pagani
goes well into massive detail.
Yeah.
Even when they do like a carbon fibre shell, they get all the carbon to match up all the way through the...
Yeah, like a tweed suit.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Like a well-tailored suit, yeah.
It's not.
It's going.
Yeah. Yeah, that just needs to be pulled in now, doesn't it?
Yeah, we just need more of a bend on here.
right? And it's a proper monocoque. And I've said this before, but if you have a tube chassis and there's a tube to a tube, well, actually like that, that's a load of rubbish, right? Because all it's doing is applying a bending force into this tube. It's referred to as in-bending. And sheet metal's the same. A monocoque car, all of your corners have to meet at a corner. You can't have a corner that meets to the middle of a sheet. If you think about a pyramid, all your corners match up. If you think about a cube, all of your corners match up, right? A cube is a monocoque structure if it's hollow, as is a pyramid.
Yep, the only place that doesn't apply is a little piece of tube. The two tubes are inside here. There's a little piece of tube that connects the two together. And that's only there in case of a side impact. And that's just holding the two tubes together. So it stops the tubes being pulled apart.
It works in tension, right? And everything works in a chassis, works in either tension or compression. So you're either pulling it apart or you're pushing it together. And if you think about a bicycle wheel, where it's spoked like a Model A, like an old car wheel, all of the spokes in a wheel are in tension and compression all the time. They share the load. Just realised we've lost our Mosquito face on the side of the car.
We'll get it back.
That's sad. That was semi by accident. We looked at the car one day and we were like, hey, it's a face, it's got wings. And then we just kind of kept on going and kept rolling with it. And now I miss it.
That'll do nicely.
Would you like a piece of steel?
It would be nice.
Right, we've just had lunch and we were talking about when we were kids, because I've wanted to build this car, as many of you know, since I was about 12 or 13. That's when the design for this car started in my brain. And I asked my dad what he wanted to do when he was like 12 or 13.
And it would build cars.
So we're both doing...
And go rallying. Which I've done both.
Yeah. Well, that were a big influence on me growing up, because everything you've ever wanted to do, you've done. Like, when you wanted a Land Rover, you decided one day, my dad decides he wants a Land Rover. So he goes out and he gets one. It wasn't like the nicest Land Rover in the world.
But it was when we sold it.
But he made it into the nicest Land Rover in the world. And it's actually the Land Rover that brought us to France the first time. And it were an ex-Scottish Power, which is like a power company. Ex-Scottish Power Land Rover with a big winch on the front, a Defender. And one of my earliest memories is us travelling around France in this old Defender and going to a safari park and being well hot. Because a Defender isn't exactly the best ventilated thing, especially when it's a Defender van. And it has back windows, but they don't open. It was very hot, because France in summer can get properly warm. And then you decided that you wanted to learn to sail, so you bought a sailing dinghy, and like every single thing that you've ever wanted to do,
I've done, yeah.
You've done.
Well, you only get one life. You know, you've only got one chance to do what you want to do.
Yeah, but that's a massive influence on me. So when I wanted a stupid fiberglass car and to build my dream car that I've always wanted since I was a little kid, like, here we are.
You only get one chance.
Yeah. And
we've also lived on the Mediterranean in a 60-foot yacht.
Yeah.
Which we restored completely. It's a classic yacht. It needed a ton of work when we bought it, and I've spent 15 years of my life restoring a yacht to its former glory.
Yeah. And then I bought one that was a right mess.
Yeah.
When I was, how old was I? 18? 18?
18, 19.
And,
Because you use the money that you're going to spend on a car.
Yeah, I used my car. I'd been saving up for years because I wanted a really nice car. Like it's all, oh yeah, I love cars. Boats are cool, don't get me wrong.
Cars are better.
But cars are better. Cars and bikes are where it's at. And I've been saving up. And my friend, who was in his late 80s, told me that he was thinking of scrapping his boat. And it was rough because obviously he's a man in his late 80s and he doesn't quite have the ability, like physical ability to do the upkeep. But I've got a real soft spot for like I love a stray, right? I've got a cat that followed Miriam home one day, and now it's my cat, like Napoleon. I've got like a car that's a heap, and that we're making beautiful because I couldn't leave it. I couldn't see it go to scrap. I had to make it beautiful. I've got a house that started with a completely rotten first floor and a hole in the roof because I can't not do. It's just in me. I've got a real weak spot for a stray. I've got a real weak spot for things that no one else, beautiful things that no one else loves. Yeah. And this yacht just was. It had it. And we made that beautiful. Dad, Miriam and I worked on that thing, and by the end of it, it looked like something out of a Ralph Lauren advert. Yeah. It looked absolutely gorgeous, and it went like a stabbed right, that boat. Yeah. That yacht was fast, sailing yacht, and it was more mast than yacht. It was a mast. It was what was it? 24 feet. Yeah. 24-foot yacht, but it had a mast on it from like a 35-foot yacht. It was like the hot rod of yachts. It was even over-engined, so it was even fast under motor. Yeah. But it was superb, I think.
Yes, and our big yacht now is a boutique hotel.
Yeah, and yeah, the people who bought it off the people who you sold it to have made it into a hotel and rang you up and thanked you. Because they said they didn't know how beautiful it were until they went inside and it's like, oh.
All brand new.
But no, you've always done everything that you've always wanted to do. And so that's why, one of the reasons I started YouTube. Yeah. In fact, I sold my yacht, and one of the reasons why we do YouTube itself is I sold my yacht and I was waiting to move here. I'm waiting for you to sell your yacht. Yep. And obviously yours was a bigger yacht and a lot more money, so it takes a minute. And I was bored to tears because I was used to making stuff. I made stuff my entire life. And it was the first time in my entire existence I hadn't had a creative outlet. And I went crazy. I was like, ever seen the film Major Pain? Right, I was like Major Pain at the beginning of Major Pain when they're like,
no more bad guys to kill.
You've killed them all. Yeah, I was like that. I was like, and Miriam got a job because she's restless, and so I was on my own and going crazy. And so I thought, well, what can I do? Well, I got a GoPro that my grandma got me. So I've got this GoPro and I've got a bike. So what I did is I went cycling. And if you look right to the first videos on this channel, they are like cycling kit reviews. I've got rid of the cycling videos themselves because they damaged the car stuff when we moved here. And I've also done videos on the house, which are on our second channel. There's a link to that in the description. But that's why I do YouTube, because I went crazy one day and I never regained my sanity. But yeah, I love it. And I legitimately didn't know that you all your life have just wanted to build like super cool cars and...
Oh yeah, because I went rallying in my younger years. Yeah. I had escorts, the last car I had, even that was a Renault 12 Gordini, which is not really the optimum rally car, but it ended up being a super cool car. I loved driving it. It wasn't the fastest car on the events, but it was such a cracking car. It was super reliable. You used to whap it all in on your rag, jump in it, and just drive that legs off it. It was loads of fun.
And then you sold it to a guy.
I sold it to a guy who wrecked it, put it in the ditch. And
It was the British Renault 12 Gordini press car, and you bought it as an unfinished project.
I'd have been rallying for a long time.
What,
and I bought it as a car that just needed a lot of
love.
a lot of TLC. So
Yeah, but you've built an engine for it also.
Oh, yeah.
You built an Alpine engine for it. But the thing is, I grew up after all of that. I kind of missed that. And I grew up with all these lovely stories and my dad doing all these awesome things and building these really nice cars. And I'm like, but I want to do it as well. So obviously that then like gestated for a while, for 20 years and became this.
right, let's get on it. Let's do some more stuff.
But yeah, that's why, that's how something like this happens. Because all my life I've been like gathering the skills to do this. I've been learning to do this because one day I was going to do it. Like there was no it's, ifs or buts. There was only when, and then COVID happened.
And then we did it.
They were like, let's do it. Can't get building supplies. Can't work on my house. Let's build a car. Worst possible time we could have chosen.
Worst possible time we've got 2 houses to build.
No workshop.
We got no workshop. We had a huge garden to develop.
My house is still a mess, by the way. I've got the best fiance in the world because we don't even have a wardrobe. All my clothes are still upstairs in boxes. But like we do this, and when it's done, and when that's done, I'll have a beautiful house and have a beautiful car. And when we're working on that, I'll make videos on that as well and post it on the second channel. So don't worry, that's coming. That's
all in hand.
I'm working on it. When I get some in my spare time.
In fact, yeah, we're going to have to invent another day in the week. So we're going to have an 8-day week and put an extra couple of hours on every day.
Romans had that, didn't they? Romans had like an 8 or a 9 day week.
I don't know.
You don't know that?
No. We need about 26 to 27 hours a day.
Yeah.
Per day. we need to invent 3 more hours, so we need like 13 o'clock, 14 o'clock and 15 o'clock.
You know what someone's going to say in comments, don't you?
What?
Well, if you'd shut up and get on with it, you get it done a lot faster.
Yeah, probably. But I don't think so. Well, you know, I won't have it any other way.
No.
Me neither.
No, we sat in the garden the other day and we were saying, like, if we won the lottery, both of us said that we'd be back at workshop working on the car. Like, this is all we've ever wanted to do, really. And there's more stuff that we want to do, and there's more cars that we want to build, and more things that we want to build. But this is just the beginning. So thank you for coming on this trip with us, because it's really nice to share this with, like, everybody. I really mean that. Okay, I've got a question to ask the community. We're thinking of doing Patreon, right? I really don't want to paywall videos at all. I want to keep these videos free and the information free for everybody who wants to access it, right? But increasingly, a lot of you have reached out to us and said that you want to contribute and you want to help and you want to be part of this build. And if enough people reach out and tell me this, then I'm not doing right by you by not allowing it. So what I want to know is, what can we offer you in what's the word? I've got brain fog.
In return.
In return for your contribution, if you so wish, to contribute and to be part of this build, what can we offer you to make it worth your while? And we've come up with a list of stuff, things like, you know, obvious things like spoilers from in between videos, you know, what's coming up and behind the scenes stuff. But what else? You know, we thought of, we could maybe do a tier where we could offer you advice on your build, because obviously we've got a lot of experience.
Got a lot of experience. I've got 40 years of engineering experience behind me, so I've got pretty much quite a lot to offer.
Yeah. You know, what can we offer you? And that's something that I really want to know. So if you've got any ideas, and if it's something that you personally are really interested in, not just like general ideas, oh, you could do this, but like, if you're watching this video and you're like, yes, I'd love to contribute, and yes, I'd love this specific thing, please let us know, and we'll really, you know that from the past, we've done things on this car that have been superb ideas from the community. So you know that I really take your ideas to heart, and that I value the relationship that we have with our community. And this is taking that a step further. So yeah, if there's something that would really interest you, please let me know in the comments. And obviously, if you have looked through the comments and other people have suggested stuff that you really like, then sound off, tell me, you know, I also would like this thing. Because the more people and the more feedback that we get, the better we can make the experience for our community. And that's why we haven't done anything like this up until now. Nice use of the pencil there.
Yeah, we'll clean both sides up.
The recommended finish for your steel to be steel it painted, which is this stuff, is 40 grit. So 40 it is, because if you didn't know, you can get floppy discs in different grits. I was embarrassingly old when I discovered that. I thought all floppy disks were like the same grit.
Oh no. 40, 60, 80, 120s.
Yeah. And they also do Scotch-Brite ones, which are fantastic. It's what I used on the aluminium thing in last week's video. They're superb, although you really want to do it outside because they make a right mess. One goes that way.
So that one comes this way.
So that one comes this way.
It's amazing, isn't it? Half mil steel, you think, it's a doddle, it's like folding paper, you know, or even cardboard.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, the thing is, the bigger the piece, the harder it is to fold. And that's the beauty of it, of the creases all lining up with each other. Not bad, that.
Yeah, it just seems a bit off there.
Yeah, do you know why? Somebody's left the pencil in.
All right. That's better. Yeah. The thing that makes it tricky is the fact that we've got two tubes that are at slightly different angles, and we're trying to make a flat piece of metal attached to both tubes equally.
And they're both round, and they're offset from each other this way, and they're offset from each other this way.
Okay. Happy with that?
Yep. That might need a bit more of a bend on it.
Yeah, just a tutter, just to bring that round. Yep. And what we'll do, I'll just grind this edge back a little bit, 1/2 mil, so this flange can actually go behind.
And it'll neaten it all up.
And then, so it'll actually look like that rather than with the flange on.
Someone's left stuff all over my workbench. Oh look, somebody's here. Visually, that's a quarter. This is a quarter, yeah? Right, so, my nose is really like crazy. So, that's that.
Whoa. Keep going. Keep going. They won't. They won't. That's it. Whoa. Okay. Keep going. Whoa.
One of the lessons that we learned from bead rolling the old front panels, the old side panels, were that when we crossed over the bead rolls, it made it all sorts of wobbly. Because as you bead roll it distorts the panel and twists and stretches the panel.
It pulls it in two or three different directions all at once.
Yeah, and when you do the two crosses and the different lengths, that's okay if you're stamping it in because you do it all at once. But when you do it with the bead roller, you're stretching a panel in one direction, then you're stretching it in the other direction, and it turns it into a potato chip or crisp.
All right. Whoa.
Which is not ideal when you want a flat panel. If you're making a salad bowl, make stars.
Cool.
I'm going to stop and turn you.
Yep. It won't. It won't. It won't. That's it.
There's a little bit of lash in the gears, and anytime we change direction, it's rather unnerving. It's got its face back.
And it fits.
Yeah, better than the old one did.
Yeah.
And it's lighter. And in theory stronger.
Yeah.
So
well done, that man.
old versus new. In fact, if it is a Mosquito, it looked like it was dead before.
See, look, there's a big chunk missing out of this end.
Yeah.
And it's bored as well.
And it's bored. So it's like a dog's back leg. Is that a universal thing? People in the comments, is cut like a dog's back leg a universal thing, or is that just a Northern English thing? it means it's cut wonky. Yeah, so nothing's straight, nothing's level, and you can't trust the body as far as you can throw it. Because this is made to fit the body, that hole and that hole are 5mm different from each other. just to put you into perspective how we got here.
Yeah, ours is bob on.
Yeah.
We've got 170mm to the edge of the fold. And 170 there, so that's bob on, but the holes are 5mm different, so we can't go off the holes. We can only go off the...
So our only relation to the body, when it's sat here, which are the holes, are wrong. And the body's wrong. And of course we'll have to make the body right, but it was made by hand.
So if we come...
30 years ago, or 35 years ago, at least. In fact, when you think about it, it does quite well to be only be 5mm out. Because it was made by hand at least 35 years ago, and then it's been chopped in half and crashed twice. So it's doing all right. Because I've been crashed a couple of times and I'm a bit wonky. So between me and it, we're doing all right.
Okay.
No, keep going, all the way to there. And then that way you've got two crossover points. So if you had a bit of a wobble.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me when.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And stop. Keep going. Maybe more. Oh, it's made it a lot stiffer.
Mm.
You know, you put in that one, even we're only going 1.5 instead of 3.
Yeah, we're never really happy with the previous setup, so. A really interesting thing to think about, but an absolutely crucial one if you're building your own car, especially if it's something that was a really slow thing that you want to make go really fast, is that air density cubes with speed. Right? So to put that in simple terms, you're going down the highway and you're doing 60 miles an hour. And the air density pressing on the windscreen is X. Let's keep it really simple. Right? And then you accelerate up to 120 miles an hour. At 120 miles an hour, the air density pressing on the windscreen is 4x. It is 4 times greater than it was at 60 miles an hour. And I picked those speeds because most of us have done 60 and most of us have done 120 at some point or another, right? But the forces applied are vastly different. at 68 than they are at 120. What does that mean for our little Mozzie? Well, a standard GTM from the factory was good for about 110 miles an hour, and you wouldn't be staying there for very long. Whereas the Mosquito should be able to top at about 160 miles an hour, which is a bit much for my personal taste and a bit much for my application, but it is what it is, right? And if it can do it, then it needs to be able to do it. So at 160 miles an hour, the air density pressing on our windscreen, and remember that about here is the point of highest pressure on the body of a car. Usually the front of the nose and the top of the windscreen here, where the windscreen meets the roof. They're the highest points of pressure. So your air density from 110 to about 160 is double, right? It's double the force pressing on the windscreen. In fact, it's double the force pressing on the entire car. And that's double the force pressing on this bulkhead. So that means we're going to have to make huge changes if we don't want to crack our windscreen, because the original GTMs, the very early Cox GTMs, had a massive issue cracking windscreens. And so we're going to need a lot of reinforcement in our windscreen area, and it's one of the reasons why I've chosen to bond our windscreen in. We're going to make a little frame and actually bond our windscreen in. And that will give it a little bit of give, because obviously the sealant is rubberized, but also it will reinforce all of this area because it basically puts a bead roll in. But that's why I've chosen to bead roll it the way we've chosen to bead roll it, so that when pressure is applied, it spreads the load out. It's a huge deal, and usually people only talk about air density when it comes to wings, because obviously a World Rally car has a really attacky wing angle, right? The wing angle is massive, and that's because a WRC car tops out at about 125 miles an hour, whereas something like an F1 car can obviously go a lot faster, and so doesn't need to run quite as steep an angle, because the air density at the highest speeds is a lot greater, so the force pressing down on the wing for less angle is much greater. And you can actually air roll limit a car by giving it like super steep wing angles. And so stuff like sprint cars and stuff like that usually run massive angle, whereas stuff that's a lot faster runs a lot less. But that also goes for our body panels on our cars, because I personally really like classic cars. But if you want to modernize a classic car, people like MST with the Ford Escorts, people like Singer with the 911s, Alphaholics, you know, all these like resto mod type people. If you're looking at those cars and thinking how cool they are, and you want to do something similar for yourself, then you really need to take into account that if you are going to raise the top speed of your car massively, then you are going to have to start reinforcing things like body panels. To take it to its very extreme, Concorde, the first supersonic passenger aircraft, grew by, was it 10 mil?
No, 100 mil.
100 mil, so that's 10 centimetres.
Yeah, 4 inches.
4 inch. So he's over there. But it actually stretched, the whole plane stretched because of the density of air. And that's huge. And that's why really fast aircraft goes up really high where the air is less dense, because that allows them to do higher speed. And why Bugatti wait till summer to do their super high speed tests. And Bonneville and stuff like that is in the desert, because obviously hot air is less dense, and so they can combat it, because your vehicle is technically more aerodynamic when it's hotter weather, as are giant cyclists. But yeah, it's really important to think about if you are going to take like an MGB and try and do 200 miles an hour with it, that you really need to start like thinking about reinforcing body panels and stuff like that, because that ain't going to cut it at 160 miles an hour, and it could cost you a windscreen, or it could cost you even more than that, you know, if your bonnet flies up or something like that. So yeah, it's really important to think about you know, bonnet catches that were good for 60 are not good for are not good for 160, and like stuff can move dramatically, so it's really worth thinking about. And so this should be good because the force applied should now spread out into the corners and then spread back and then spread forwards because it's all triangulated. Better? Well, Dad, it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster.
At times a bit of an uphill struggle, but we've got there.
In the moment, it's really stressful, and there's been some air pulling in this week. But as usual with these things, all's well that ends well.
Yeah, it's worked out for the best.
It has. This design is actually better than the old cowl by like a good 30%,
yeah.
Isn't it? The old side panel had to be made of 1mm steel, whereas this one doesn't. And because of the triangulation, it should be stiffer as well.
Yep.
So it's a better design overall, and I much prefer this new design of the bulkhead.
Yeah.
It should be actually better at its job, and it looks far better as well.
And we'll give ourselves more room to put the heater in and out, which is can only be a good thing.
Yeah, we still need to do this tray. We still need, there's a lot of welding needs doing, and we still need to do the centre console. But you've got all that to look forward to next week, because when this thing finally gets some paint on it, it will all pull it together, and it won't be 7 different types of silver. It will just be one, and it will look gorgeous. And I cannot wait. I'm really excited. It's funny. This week. It felt like going backwards.
Yeah,
it really did.
Well, any time you to remake something, it's a bit of a pain, but we've made it now.
Yeah,
it's better for it.
Yeah,
it looks better. It's functionally better.
The temptation is to rush. Anytime you find yourself going backwards and you've got to redo something, the temptation is to let's just get it done and let it. But
or the other thing is to add to a mess you've already made, add to something that's not correct.
Yeah, try and modify it.
Try and modify it to make it fit. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're back to square one. Start again.
Exactly.
And now it fits.
Exactly. Well, it's more than square one because we learnt from our mistakes and we've made it better.
Yeah.
And if that's not an allegory for life, I don't know what is. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Make sure you are subscribed, and don't forget, if you are interested in being a member of our Patreon when we make it, we want your input. We want you to tell us what you would like for your hard-earned cash, because we keep hearing from you saying that you want to help us, saying that you want to contribute, saying that you want to be part of this build. And if that's what you want, we're happy to do it. But we want you to have your input, and that starts here, that starts now, that starts today, and that starts with you telling us what you want down in the comments below.
Yep, so leave us a comment, tell us what you want, tell us what you like, tell us what you think of the project so far. You know, do you like it? Is there things that you think you could improve on?
Yeah. Have you got any advice for us? Let us know. And of course, as always, there'll be a button that looks like my face. The like button is just down there next to the subscribe button. So if you're new here, you know where to go. And there'll be 2 videos at the end of this one. One is a playlist of every single Mosquito video we've ever made. So if you've enjoyed this one and you really want more, that's where to start.
Yeah, start at number 1.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching. Please be awesome to each other.
We'll see you all in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.